Okay, now we're on the run checklist. We did the setup checklist, 3 steps. Now we're on run checklist. We have 3 different categories: prove out, cut metal, and inspection. So prove out is load program in memory, run graphics simulation, set the override at 25% for rapid and turn on optional stop, and then we're going to set the dry run 2 inches above the part, which is G92 in the work offsets. And we're going to do memory mode, reset cycle start program. We put a note here, do you want the coolant on? So we decided we're going to manually shut the coolant valve off, just like we were hosing down the machine, so we know where that valve is. We're going to dry run in the air to learn and see any issues and verify complete. So we're going to do that right now. So on our Haas machines, we use our USBs in school here, and you only want to use USBs that don't have much data in them. You don't want to have all your pictures and music and SolidWorks files. You'll have issues with your USB. So in this one, when you load a program in, you're going to go list programs, and you have to jump to the USB. So that'll be up, over, and enter the USB. And then you're going to load one of these programs in. So you need to know your program number. You need to have named it. So if you're in Fusion, you want to do that 3rd tab and write in your program number. We typically just use the default 1001 for the left-hand vice first operation, and we use 1002 for the right-hand vice second operation. So, but if you use different numbers, you might want to rename this. But for simplicity, if you write in the comment line, it'll have your program number. So to load a program in, you need to go in and select it, and do not hit select program now, because if you hit select program, you're running directly off the USB, and if you lose any contact, you lose contact with the USB. You only need to do that if your program is too large to fit in the machine. That's an optional way to run it, but you really don't want to run it that way. You want to transfer the program into memory. So if you happen to do that and hit select program, it's connected right now. And if you need to disconnect it, you have to go select something in memory. We find it's just easy just to pull it out and let it disconnect. All right, going to go back in, hit enter. Hit reset, hit enter again. Sometimes it doesn't like to read it right away. There we go. Hit list programs. And we say we're going to transfer this 444. Now you might forget the procedure and try to hit select and go, that wasn't what I wanted to do. This older machine has send and receive. This is meant to do with a machine that's wired into a service system. So we're going to do, if you hit enter button, and it tells you right there what to do. F2 to copy selected files. F2. Now it goes through the directions. Copy to memory. You only have 2 choices. Use up and down and right to select. So the right button is also the enter button. So you just hit enter, and now it's transferred. It immediately becomes active. So it's actually active, and you don't really need this anymore. It's the active program. So this is actually not the correct program, because I'm looking at it, Brian, flat E, Haas, different program. If I got beyond that, I hit the simulation button, and it doesn't even look right, that it write invalid tool number, because this is the wrong program for this. This was meant for that machine there. So if you've already loaded the program in, this is how you find it. Operation 1, so he's got his labeled. Operation 1, he put his initials there. I don't know which part it is, but I believe it's the Titan 2M. So I'm going to hit, now I can hit select. Now it's got the correct program in there. And right here I can see my tool numbers in the date. Tool 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's got the correct list of programs. So now I think I could do the graphic simulation. I'm going to hit memory and hit, this is setting and graphics. So if I press it once, I get setting. Press it twice, I get graphics. This little window is where the zoom window is, and this is your big window. So if you press this, and you don't see anything, the zoom window is probably not in the right place. Hit reset. F2 for zoom, or F1 for help. If I hit F2 and hit home, because I already did the help, it unzooms everything. Now we can run this. And this looks like my Titan 2M. I recognize the cutting moves, only this is pretty small. I'm going to hit feed hold here. So I want to zoom up on that area right there. So right now we can't do it because we're in the middle of a program. So I'm going to hit reset. I'm going to leave that up there for a minute. Now F2 and hit page down. That shrinks the window and the arrow buttons will move it. I'll shrink it down a little bit. That looks pretty good. Now hit enter to lock it in. Now I'm at the beginning of the program again. Cycle start. So it's even got what tool is in there, simulated, some depth cuts here, but this is really about the X and Y's. Anything that's a dotted line is a rapid movement, anything that's a solid line is a feed cutting movement. But as far as I can tell, this looks like my simulation, so I think I'm pretty good to go to the next step, which is going to be dry run in air. If I forget, just come back to the sheet, review it, set rapid 25, turn on optional stop. Alright, rapid is at 50, I'm going to turn it on to 25, and I need to turn on the optional stop, which is on the memory row right here. Optional stop. Optional stop is an M01 code, and if I go into my program down here, right at the end of tool 1 before tool 2, we have it at the end of every tool. So if this is on, it'll stop at every tool automatically. I want to do this to prove a program out in the air or cutting. After that, there's no need to slow down. We can shut that off. We have the option of shutting it off. All right, now we need to do 2 more steps. The G92 shift. So we're going to go to offsets. And we don't want tool offsets. We want work offsets. This is the ones we set, and there's our copy. But I don't see G92 in here. How many offsets are there? There are actually 100 offsets. It's going to take us a while, but I can use these 2 buttons. Home will bring me all the way up, and then will bring me to the bottom, which is where G92 is. So I'm going to go to the Z-axis and type in 2, enter. Now if I do 2 without a decimal point, I end up with that. And if I go, oops, I wanted 2.0, and hit enter, I just added 2 to the 2/10. I don't want that either. I want it to say 2.0, use the force. All right, now it's fixed. And the other question is, do I want the coolant on? No. So I'm going to go shut the manual valve off. This is our air blast, and this is our coolant. This is the coolant line right here, the big line. But I can double check by pressing the coolant on button. I hear the pump come on, but coolant doesn't come on. Good. This is good for a dry run. All right, back to memory, ready to go. So now we're at cycle start and observe. Cycle start. My tool changes. Should be tool 1 coming up. Yep, verified that. That's going to go over to our part. I got my finger on the feed hold button. Gas and brake. This isn't going to stop anything. This is. You want to practice a few times. We also do verify, but we should be in the air. We should be safe to run this in the air. So this is 2 inches high right now. Now if you want to speed up the process a little bit, I'm going to put feed hold on so I have control. And I'm going to increase the feed rate to 200% temporarily. Alright, so this will be face mill, and it should go home. And it optionally stops. M1. There we go. Alright, I'm going to do part 3 in a second.